different lengths. What do you mean in time? Put people in timeout? If somebody started like writing misbehaving, like writing comments or whatever.
Yeah, they like sit in a corner and think about what they did.
Oh, okay. Hi everyone. This is thank you for coming. Welcome to Likutei Torah Club. You could sit in comfortable. Sure. It's there for a reason. This Likutei Torah Club happens every little shishi over here at Mayanot. It's a mimer / farbrengen, some l'chaim, maybe a niggin. And the main thing is we want to prepare for Shabbos, and the best way to prepare for Shabbos is with a mimer. So this mimer, this week's Torah Ohr is pretty deep. The basics of Chassidus are found in this week's mimer. And since I teach the first level of Chassidus, I explained in great detail some of the concepts. You could look it up. It's on YouTube. It's I put it onto the Mayanot YouTube too. Also, in the beginning, when I was streaming it live, it was on my channel. But from now on, I'm going to try to be live on the Mayanot channel. The only problem is if I want to try to convince another few rabbis to do it, so it's a bit hard to. You can't have two people streaming live simultaneously on one channel. So we'll see what we'll do with that. But now we're on the Mayanot channel, and Leil Shishi is called Thursday night. Thursday night is called Leil Shishi, the sixth night. Yeah, in Judaism, the night goes before the day. A lot of people have a custom to stay awake this night. The sixth night of the week is connected to Yesod. Yesod is connected to connection. All Chassidus says, basically, Yesod is all those things that people struggle with connection to physical desires and things like that. And the rectification for that is sitting and learning Thursday night. People sit and learn, sit and fabring. But it's also because it's the sixth night of the week. Another simple reason is because most yeshivas don't have classes Friday morning. And another major reason is because it's a great preparation for Shabbos. So with this, you start the evening, you learn for a few hours, then you fabring for a few hours, and then we'll all try to be tomorrow 8:45. Usually Friday we daven a bit later, but Rabbi Vichman wanted to have every day the same this week. So anyone that is willing to commit to be tomorrow morning by Rabbi Vichman 8:45, we need 20 people, 2 minyanim. So Tovoi Olav Bracha, may a blessing come on him. Let's start. Again, if you don't understand something, please ask me. The nature of the Shishi, the Likutei Torah Club, is a bit more advanced. So again, if you want more detail, you could find it in the morning classes. And if you don't understand something over here, I'm happy to elaborate. But obviously, it's not going to be in the same length that I posted on YouTube. Let's see. Parshas Vayera, Shayach LaPasuk Er Dana. This is connected to the pasuk where God says, Er Dana, let me go down to Sodom and to see if really the people are so bad over there. So what do we see in this pasuk? In this pasuk, we see God interacting with the world, and that automatically brings us to a major question: how does God interact with the world? How does that work? So the mimer is based. The entry of this mimer is based on the Hagdama, on the introduction to the Zohar. We say it every Friday afternoon, and if you're Sephardic, you say it every day before Mincha. the introduction to the Zohar is the opening of Elijah the prophet, Eliyahu Navi, and in the Zohar, in that part of the Zohar, he goes through the very basics of Kabbalah. What does it say over there? Pasach Eliyahu. Eliyahu opened. Antu chad v'loy b'chushban. You, God, you're one, but not in a numerical sense. You're not one as a part of a series, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You are one and only. Ant, you, this is Aramaic, Ant, you, da pikas, who, you are the one, da pikas, that you brought forth, asar tikunin, the 10 adornments, the korinon, lohoin, asar safiron, I'm reading over here, it's not written in here, the korinon, lohoin, asar safiron, and we call it the 10 sapphires. So what does Elijah the prophet say? Elijah the prophet says that God brought forth 10 sfirot. I'm sorry, the opposite. He says God brought forth 10 adornments, and we call it 10 sfirot. Who knows what's the translation of the word sfirot?
Attribute.
Sfirot is sapphires. Some people say sfirot means counting, numbers, but almost all the Mekubalim agree that Sfirot is sapphires. The Vilna Gaon writes it clearly that Sfirot is sapphires. It's 10 illuminations by God. Lahov in Indian says the Alter Rebbe, in order to understand this, Loman Nikra Yud Sfiras, why the 10 attributes called B'Shem Tikunin with the name of adornments. Tzarech lahagdim bir Indian Muhus HaNefesh. In order to understand why we call the 10 Sfirot 10 adornments, we first have to understand the inyan of the essence of the soul, what the soul is all about. What is our nefesh? So here comes something very interesting, not so common in the Alter Rebbe's writings, where he's going to say that what I wrote in the Tanya is incomplete. Actually, this is one of the things the Alter Rebbe says twice in Likutei Torah. He says that what I wrote in Tanya is incomplete, once over here and once in the Bir Leisajbis in Likutei Torah Parshas Vayikra. What does he say over there? He says, let's look in Tanya. If you learn the Tanya, what do you see in Tanya? What is the nefesh? Seichel Midos. Perek Gimel. Perek Gimel. In Perek Gimel, the Alter Rebbe describes what is the nefesh itself, its intellect and emotions. And in Perek Daled, the Alter Rebbe describes that what is the nefesh, what are the levushay nefesh, what are the clothing of the nefesh? Thoughts, speech, and action. Why is that important in the Tanya? Because the whole Tanya is based on this concept. What could we change and what can't we change? Ourselves, we can't necessarily change. Our thought, speech, and action. Our thought, speech, and action is not us. It's the way we express ourselves. So just like you could change your shirt, just like you change your socks, hopefully you do it. Yeah, so too, you could thought, speech, and action, you could change very easily. Right? And that's the whole idea of a Benoni. There's a tzaddik and there's a rasha, and then there's the Benoni where most people are meant to be. That, in terms of the faculties, the Benoni is what? A rasha. In terms of the levushim, the Benoni is what? A tzaddik. Right? That is the idea. So in the Tanya, the nefesh, the person himself, is the 10 attributes, and the 3 levushim are thought, speech, and action. Says the Alter Rebbe over here, in general, you should know a secret, that what says in, hi Levi. L'chaim, l'chaim. Oh, Gabriel is here.
You guys were safe.
L'chaim, l'chaim, everyone. L'chaim, Gabriel, and to all the soldiers.
Amen.
Amen.
Yeah. Very nice, very nice. Sure. Take a l'chaim. Everybody say l'chaim. There was a chassid over here in Shleim that used to learn chassidus. He used to learn Likutei Torah, Torah Ohr, and used to say, "What? Why do you have to?
It's fine for the country. Go into a nice seat.
So, but there's another chair over there. Why do you have to sit in the plastic?
He's not ready.
So over here comes. Oh. Says the Alter Rebbe. Kihine anefesh mitzad atzma. Oh, so I started saying there was a chassid in Yerushalayim that used to learn chassidus, and he used to take a l'chaim, and then he would pick up the cup and say, l'chaim Alter Rebbe. Alter Rebbe is sitting with us and learning chassidus with us. Fine. Says the Alter Rebbe, Kihine anefesh mitzad atzma or poshut bli yischalkus seichel amidus. The nefesh by itself is non-composite, without intellect and emotions. And the seichel and midas, they are clothing to the nefesh. That the nefesh has intellect and emotions. They are not the mahus and atzmius hanefesh. Says the Alter Rebbe in the parentheses, Umashakosov Betanya, what I wrote in the Tanya, Shanefesh Atzma Mischalekas Seichel Midas, the nefesh itself divides into Seichel Midas, Shehem Nikroim Atzmis HaNefesh, that they are called the essence of the soul. Ein Zeh, this is not true, El Gam Machshav Divrei Maisa, this is only relative to thought, speech, and action, Shehem Levushin Nifrodim Mamish, Imuhus HaNefesh, that they are completely separate Levushin from the essence of the soul. Shehem Bechinas Biyah, that's Bria Yitzir Asiyah. Shal Zeh Omar Levushin Tekinas Loin, in Bria Yitzir Asiyah, that this is what the Holy Zohar says, that I have made for them clothing, that is Bria Yitzir Asiyah. Aval HaSeichel VaMidas, but the Seichel VaMidas, Ima Yoshem Bechinas Levushim, even though that they are clothing, Einom Levushim Nifrodim Mamish, they are not completely separate. Elo Kamei Bechinas Kelim, the Atzilus, they are like the vessels of Atzilus. The Iyu v'Garmoyu Chad, God and His vessels are one. V'Locheni Kroim b'Shem Atzmius v'Loi Atzmius Mamish. They are called the essence of the soul, but not Mamish the essence. Elo Shehem Nikroim b'Shem Tikunin. They are called adornments. Shanefesh Mistakenes and Mislabeshes Behem. That the nefesh adores itself, embellishes itself, and encloses himself with it. What did we just learn? This by itself have like 4 hours of explanation. What we just did. What did the Alter Rebbe? What did we understand over here? We don't want to make it that long, because, as we said, we already spoke about it this week in great length. But what did the Alter Rebbe say over here? The Alter Rebbe says like this: what I wrote in the Tanya, that the nefesh has intellect and emotions, that's not complete. That's only relative to the clothing of the nefesh. Then we could say that the nefesh has 10 faculties. Really, our nefesh, our soul, is completely non-composite. Our nefesh, therefore, encloses himself in the thoughts, in the faculties. So what's going on? Did he say something wrong, Tanya? What's going on over here? And why is it so important for Chassidus to explain that the nefesh is completely the soul? Nefesh is soul, yeah? Why is it important for Chassidus to tell us that the nefesh is non-composite?
What do you mean by composite?
Non-composite means that it doesn't. It's one thing, and it's not made out of different parts. It doesn't have.
It's just one big.
It's one simple, not simplistic. Yeah.
Single faceted.
And it has no definition. It has no definition. You can't give it a name. You can't give it a title. It's beyond title.
Why is the soul single faceted?
Why is it in Chassidus? Why is it important in Chassidus to describe the soul as such?
It's part of God.
right? Right. Because it's part of God, but even more than that, because we were created in the image of God. That's a very important point. The pasuk says, "Mipsari erzalekai," I could know God from my flesh. What is the simple meaning? I could know God from my flesh. The simple explanation explained by most people in the world is that from the fact that I have a body and I look at how sophisticated the body is, from this I could understand that there is a God. Chassidus takes it to a whole new level and says even more. The Baal Shem Tov says it, the Alter Rebbe quotes it, 15, Igeres HaKodesh 15 in the fourth volume, that from our flesh I could know God, I could know God's personality from our flesh. Since we were created in His image, we could get to know God through our image, through our psychology. Getting to know ourselves, so Chassidus does two things. Like I said, does one thing that has two points. One is Chassidus is trying to teach us more about our soul, because our soul, from understanding our soul, we also have spheres. We can understand God's spheres and so on and so forth. But also, if a person really wants to know how to serve God, then the deepest wisdom in the world is how to serve God. How a finite person can connect to infinite God. So the more you know how the soul works, you know how to serve God. So therefore, you'll realize, those of you who are some of you are already in Rabbi Kaufman's Chassidus class. Most examples in Chassidus are going to be from our psychology, from our nefesh. Why? For that reason. Also, another reason that you could say is because it's one of the things that are the most spiritual that we could relate to, right? If we want to talk about God, it's something it's metaphysical, right? It's not physical. So what is the thing that we have access to that is not physical? Our nefesh, our soul, our psychology, the structure of our soul. So far, so good. God is simple. Again, simple doesn't mean simple and not sophisticated. Simple means non-composite. The Rambam says that when we say God is one, what does it mean God is one? God is one even according to the Rambam. And what does it mean God is one? God is one doesn't mean maybe it's good to have you in the frame. Soldier frame. That's
Boost the view counts.
boost the view counts, exactly.
I want to like hold my gun over here.
Oh, right, hold the gun. Not towards my head.
Sure,
Yeah.
I'm responsible. Chas v'shalom.
Chas v'shalom. One time. Up. Yeah, say some l'chaim, Gavir. No coercion. Okay, so what did we want to say? So the first thing is to understand God is not composite. God is beyond the world. This is where I was up to. The Rambam says that God is one. So Chassidus also explains what it means God is one in a deeper way than just saying there's no other gods and there's no Trinity. God is one, says the Rambam, that God by himself is one, meaning to say that he has no details. Why is that important? Who could tell me why is that important to understand that God has no details? Because if he has details, he is finite, limited. And if he's limited, he needs a creator too. Because every limited thing has to have someone that created it. So the only way to understand that there is a God that is the beginning of creation, he has to be completely infinite. Echad. By definition, that's the definition of a God. So we have a problem, guys. If God is non-composite, if God is infinite, how do we have a world with so many details and so composite? Everything in the world is made out of so many things. How do we explain that? Look, Boaz, how do we explain that? We learned this Mayanot the whole week. How do we explain that? We have two ways of looking at the world. What are the two ways of looking at the world, Boaz?
Into the top of my head.
The
The Choker
very good,
and the Mekubal.
very good. The philosopher, and the
Kabbalist.
Exactly, the philosopher and the Kabbalist. What is the difference between the philosopher and the Kabbalist? What does the Vilna Gaon say? Interesting. I already quoted him tonight twice.
Philosophers bottom up and Kabbalists is top down.
Exactly. The Vilna Gaon said that Kabbalah starts of thought. One school of thought was the school of thought of Kabbalah, and one school of thought was the school of philosophy, and both had very strong feelings for their approach, where they believed that their approach is the way of getting to know God. The philosopher believes that the way to know God is from the world. What is a philosopher? A philosopher is a person that uses his brain. And he says that God wants us to get to know him. How do we going to get to know him? We're going to get to know him from the world. So he looks at the world, he looks at the artifacts, and he takes the artifacts and takes them apart. And he says, let's look at the world. If the world contains wisdom, and the world has to come from God, so the God must have wisdom. If there's love in this world, God must have love. If there is compassion in the world, God must have compassion. And therefore they come to a conclusion, the philosopher will come to a conclusion from the world that God has all the 10 attributes. Yeah, because you understand that there's no point in thinking that God has to have every type of flower, right? If you take the whole world and you break it down into categories, you'll come to a conclusion that there are 10 categories in this world. And God must have those 10 categories. And basically, King David says in the Psalms, David HaMelech says in Tehillim, Hanoita oizen alo yishma, hayotzer ayin alo yabit. The one that implants the ear definitely could hear. And the one that formed the eye could definitely see. Because if I see in this world the attribute, what will I do? I'll right away attribute that attribute to the Creator. So far, so good. Yeah. But what's the problem? So God has 10 sfirot. It's a big problem. How's the Rivosh? There's a famous Shuvas Rivosh that says, you Kabbalists are worse than the Christians. The Christians believe in 3. You guys believe in 10. So what is the simple answer to that? Once you understand that God, so to say, has these 10 attributes, so you understand he doesn't have to have all the 10. He has one attribute, that from that attribute, all the other 9 come out. Which one is the highest attribute? Again, if you look from the bottom up, wisdom. Malchus is the lowest. Yeah, when you look. Oh, okay. But Keter is already higher than the world. Again, the philosopher only sees things from the world. Yeah, the example that we used in the morning was that you look at a watch on the table and you decide that you want to get to know the watchmaker from the watch. So you take apart the watch, and what do you find? You find that the guy has fine motor skills. He knows Italian because there's some notes over there in Italian. He knows how to glue things together. Then someone will come and tell you, by the way, he also knows how to dance. It's like, maybe there's nowhere in this watch that I could attribute to him dancing. I'm doing my job. And in fact, they will come and say, this is what God told us to do. God told us to get to know him. How does he want us to know him? He gave us a world. We should take a part of the world and we should get to know him, to know the world. That's a philosopher. A philosopher says, I only have the scope, the narrow scope of the world. Make sense, Shmuel? Yeah? Talking too long? We need a minyan, a l'chaim. What's going on? It's still the beginning of the night. Guys, when you get hungry, my wife put it into into the oven, all the leftovers from the whole week. Chicken wings and schnitzel.
Yeah.
So, but when you get hungry, it's still early to get hungry. Like you have this middle of the night.
Why didn't you tell me? I'm filling myself up.
Next we'll have a whole feast, bro.
Guys, don't shishi, come on.
Little shishi, exactly. You know, in yeshivas, very often, unfortunately, like some seltzer, in the yeshivas, unfortunately, Bochrim have a custom to break in. Don't have to do that custom. But back in the day, that was the custom. Nowadays, the yeshivas give food by themselves. But back in the day, they didn't give food, so the Bochrim used to break in the middle of the night. They get hungry. What do you do? So they used to break into the. You have to change the locks every week. It's a whole story. So there's a famous joke that one of the cooks said, it's like, I have no problem. The guys want to eat, no problem. But why can't we move Lil Shishi to any other day of the week? Move Lil Shishi to another day. Sure. A second, only. Let's refill the seltzer over here, Baruch Hashem.
Do a niggin while we're waiting for him to come back.
Which nigga?
Spencer, Chaim Spencer. Spencer is here.
Oh, Spencer is lying.
Spencer's watching? Hey, Avianco.
Hey, Spence.
Hey, Spencer.
How you doing?
And you see the beauty of your shalayim.
I just saw my face. I'm the beauty of your life.
Okay, guys. So we have a special l'chaim that David brought.
Not and Zach.
And Zach. Where's
Yes.
Zach?
Oh.
Zach is there. I went to the bathroom. Okay. Oh, well. Finally. Someone is knocking on the door?
I'm very calm now.
Oh, so I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So basically like this. We're still in the middle of explaining it. So basically, everybody understood the philosophical perspective. The philosophical perspective is, let's wait for Zach.
Okay.
The philosophical perspective is you look at the artifacts and you look bottom up. Makes sense? So we have to say that the first sphera includes all the other spheres, but then we still have an issue. What is the issue that we have? We are saying God has the sphere of Chokhmah. That is also composite. So what does the Rambam do? Who remembers what is the Rambam? How does the Rambam deal with this issue? Does the Rambam say that God has Chokhmah? He is Chokhmah. He is the knowledge, the known, and the knower. Comes the Maharal, the holy Maharal of Prague. Alter Rebbe was a descendant of the Maharal of Prague, and he goes I don't want to say ballistic, but he goes out against the Rambam. How could the Rambam say such a thing? Nowhere in the Gemara did we find such a thing that God is called a wisdom, blessed be He. How is God called in the Gemara and the Torah? The Holy One, blessed be He. What does holy mean? Holy means completely exalted, beyondness. You give God a title? So like this, the Rambam wasn't some nobody. Yeah, when the Rambam says that Levi's in the picture. When the Rambam
I can autograph it up.
when the Rambam says that God is wisdom, the Rambam doesn't mean to say. The Rambam also understands that you can't give God a title. So does the Rambam say that God is the knowledge, the known and the knower. This is something that no one understands. This is something that a mouth can't pronounce. A human ear cannot hear that. That's the way the Rambam explains. On one hand, I'm giving a title, but on the other hand, it's completely beyond. But the Maharal of Prague comes and says, no. God has no title. God has no attributes. God is beyond the world. So how does the world come into being? How does the world come into being? But God runs the world through the 10 attributes. So what does he say? He says, this is the words of the Zohar. Says the Maharal, God brought forth the 10 spheres. God is beyond the 10 spheres. He created the 10 spheres. The 10 spheres are just 10 hats through which God runs the world. Right? Everybody understands that? So we have the Maharal and the Rambam. According to the Maharal, let me ask you a question. According to the Maharal, could you get to know the God from the world? You could know that there is a God, but you see a cup of water. Could you learn anything about God's personality from a cup of water? No. Why not?
Doesn't show anything.
Doesn't show anything. It just shows God created it. If God has that attribute, so you're saying this is a manifestation of God's attribute. I could see in the cup of water, I could see God's love. I could see in the world masculinity, femininity. God has masculinity and femininity. You could know God Himself from the world. But according to the Maharal, he says, well, this is like that's blasphemy. That's blasphemous to call God a name. The 10 Sefirot, the way God created the world, the 10 Sefirot is something He created. Right? The Alter Rebbe was very bothered by this question. And what does the Alter Rebbe answer already in the second chapter in Tanya? Who remembers the second chapter in Tanya? There's a footnote over there. There's a footnote the Alter Rebbe put into the Tanya in the second version of the Tanya. He put in the same footnote as found in the second chapter in the first volume. It's found in the 9th chapter.
About the garments?
In the second volume, similar to the garments. It's not the garments, but what is the idea? The adornments.
Adornments, yeah.
What does he say? He doesn't use the word adornments. He says the Maharal and the Rambam are both right. The Alter Rebbe had a divine power to take opposites and combine them. And when you combine them, you have a whole new understanding. What does he say? God is beyond the spheres, but God chose to unite Himself with the spheres. The Maharal is right that God is beyond the spheres, and that God brought forth the spheres. But after He brought forth the spheres, God chose to unite Himself with the spheres. And after He unites Himself with the spheres, the Rambam is right that God and His knowledge and His wisdom are one. But once you understand the combination of the Maharal and the Rambam, you understand even more than the Rambam, The Rambam is only saying that God is one with wisdom. But Chassidus comes and says, if we understand that God is beyond and just God unites himself, God is his wisdom, God is his understanding, God is his knowledge, knowledge, how do they translate in Tanya Das?
Knowledge.
Knowledge?
No.
Yeah?
Wisdom, understanding.
Wisdom, understanding is
Knowledge.
Bina. Das?
No. Knowledge, yeah,
I mean,
knowledge.
Knowledge. He is his love. Could you call God love? The loving God? Without this, it's a problem. A loving God, or you're giving God an attribute. God unites himself with the sphere of Chesed. God unites himself. In other words, once you combine the Maral and the Rambam, you could say even more extreme than the Rambam, and the Maral won't be upset with you. You hear God created these attributes. You could see God in the world. Abraham says, God, Kel Olam. Avraham Avinu announced to the world that God is God of the world. But in Hebrew, it doesn't say Kel HaOlam. It says Kel Olam. It says Chassidus, what does it mean, Kel Olam? God world. The world and God are one. So what does that mean practically? See it, or you could say how beautiful God is, because the view is a manifestation. You could get to know God from the world. And therefore, it's so important for Chassidus to say God is beyond the 10 Sefirot. God created the 10 Sefirot and united himself with it. And then the world, his creation, that is already God's manifestations. That's God's clothing, thought, speech, and actions, the worlds of Bria, Yitzirah, Asiya. Make sense? Or it's like I went to... Let's try to explain this, even though I wanted to cover more ground in the mimer, but it looks like the mashke is starting to... Maybe.
How is that Hashem not limiting himself?
He's not limited. Let me try to... Brilliant question, McGill. Thank you. One of the things that Chassidus says is God is so unlimited that he's not even limited to being unlimited. You understand that point? In Chassidus, what? Kind of. Very good. There is being limited. We're limited beings. There's someone that is unlimited, but being unlimited is who he is. God is beyond limitations and beyond unlimited, that God could choose to become limited. God chooses to go and become united with his spheres. This has so many implications, what Alter Rebbe is saying. And Alter Rebbe understood it all from one word in the Zohar. What is the word in the Zohar? Tikkunin. How does the Zohar call the spheres? Embellishments, adornments. Why? Why? What is the idea of an adornment? Let's try to understand it first.
Something you put on yourself.
Oh, something you put on yourself is also clothing.
It's an accessory.
It's an accessory. But what's the difference between that and clothing? Clothing comes to cover you and expresses a diluted version of you. I'm not interested in showing you exactly everything that's going on. Normal people don't, right? Know the story. The story that someone came to the Beis Yisrael of Ger, right? Mayanot is where the Beis Yisrael lived. And he said, Rebbe, that guy thought he's Mashiach. Says, Rebbe, I think it's a time for me to reveal myself. Said, no, not here. Go to the mikveh. Don't reveal yourself over here. Yeah. So what is a very good example for that? It's something we used in the class, and I don't want to spend too much time on this because the elaboration is found in the YouTube. There's a big question always: how much should we care for our kids? Should we care or we shouldn't care? If we care for our kids, they feel suffocated. If we don't care, they feel abandoned. And usually kids always complain. And they're right, because there's no way. A big psychologist once told me, there's no way to be a good parent. Like you could try, but every kid will always need therapy. It's a part of life. But the question is, how could you really? How could you? What's the formula? Should you care for your kids or not? Nowadays, the world is very into family therapy. And in family therapy, there's a concept called family enmeshment. And family enmeshment, one of the issues that kids have is that they feel that their parents are living life through them. And therefore, the father could be the best father, the mother could be the best mother, it doesn't matter. But that's the reason also why it's so hard for us to listen to advice from our parents. A very interesting phenomena happens. Sometimes kids go through a certain issue and the parents give them the same advice over and over again. 3 years down the line, a neighbor gives them the same advice. Say, wow, that's brilliant. Then they walk into the house and they say, Daddy, you know what the neighbor told me to do? The neighbor told me to do ABC. The father says, well, this is what I've been telling you for the last, I don't know how long. So you don't even hear when your parents say that. And that's why any one of you that learns the Rebbe's letters knows that the Rebbe in his divine wisdom always gives advice for parents. It's 11 o'clock. That's what happens. The Rebbe in his divine wisdom always suggests parents, if you want to tell something to your child, don't tell your child by yourself. Get a friend of his or a friend of yours to tell your child. It looks like an easy piece of advice. It's very hard because we also have egos. But what is the real reason why it's so hard for us to listen to our parents? Because deep down, we sometimes have a fear that my parent doesn't care about me, he cares about himself. So an example that I use is about myself. I really wanted my child to know Tanya by heart. I bought him gifts, and I promised him prizes. Didn't work. Until I realized that my son feels, he doesn't feel that I want him to know Tanya by heart. My son feels that I want to be a father of a son that knows Tanya by heart. You want to live through me? No, not interested. You were promising me a bicycle. Back then it was like a whole big deal. You want me to know Tanya by heart, or you want? So what is the formula? The formula is called in Chassidus, be within, stay above. What does it mean, be within, stay above? Exactly what we're learning over here. Is the Eibishter the spheres, yes or no? Hashem is in the spheres, but he's above the spheres. He unites himself with the spheres because he chose to unite himself with the spheres. Should I care for my child, yes or no? If you really care, you're not caring for your child, you're caring for yourself. If you really care, what are you basically saying? The air conditioner is working, so we can close the door. Also, less chance of neighbors complaining. Exactly. Please pass the water. So if I really care if my son knows Tanya by heart or not, so do I care for him, or I care because I want to be the father of a kid that knows Tanya by heart? So what is real love? Real love is when I really care or when I don't care. Real love is when I don't really care. I choose to care. Because I don't really care. My source of happiness is not based on my son. If I really believe in knowing Tanya by heart, why don't I work on myself? I should know Tanya by heart. I still have a lot of chapters to memorize. Believe me. Levi, could you make the air conditioner a bit higher? Meaning to
Yeah,
say
I can-
lower.
Where do you want it?
No, make it on 18. Where is it now? 20?
20 going lower.
Lower. It's be colder.
16.
Oh, 16.
16?
Levi wants 16. Tonight the house is yours, guys. Mikasa is Sukasa.
Hey, 14.
I don't think it goes lower.
12.
So go negative.
What about caring but not showing it? Is that not like
That's you're missing out on both ends. It's like caring and not showing. You're also caring. You're also a nagging parent, and also your child will feel abandoned. What's the point? What's the point of caring and not showing? The opposite. You want to show care, but you want to show your child that you care for them, that you cut off the umbilical cord. You're not doing it because you have a need. You're caring because you love him. And the only way, by the way, I sometimes tell parents this, the only way to show that to a child is from time to time you tell your child, listen, it's something I don't like, but for you it might be good. I personally would not want you to go to that camp, but I think you might enjoy it. Very possible the kid even won't go there, but what is the message that you give the child? I love you. I care for you. Then next time you tell him don't go over there, he feels that, oh, my dad last time told me to go even though that he doesn't like it. So God's involvement in the world, there's always this question, does God care? Doesn't he care? So everybody thinks it's like a simple, for sure God cares. Like, we're religious. If he doesn't care, why am I putting on tefillin? Why am I trying to guard my thoughts, my eyes, my actions? Why? What's the point? So, but if God cares, people don't realize if God cares, it's a question on him being God. If God cares, then it means that I have the ability to affect him. God shouldn't be able to be affected. Job says, Eov writes, "Im tzadakta matitlo," if you're very righteous, what do you give him? And if you're doing a lot of iniquities, what do you think you're doing to him? And what is he going to take from your hands? Oh, you're giving a lot of tzedakah, you're giving a lot of charity, you're giving a lot of money. He needs your money, he has everything. Some people take that to the extreme. Say, God is so big, you think he really cares what I'm doing now? What's the answer? It's similar to that. Some people say, God is not limited. Like, you think, really? It always comes with that. With rolling your eyes. Really? Do you really think that God cares what hechsher I eat? Really? And the really is like trying to say, I believe in God as being very big. What is the answer to that person? Because that person most probably has a mistake. He thinks that God is not small, he's big. So what does he care about? If I'll meditate for 18 hours straight, that will tickle him. That will affect him. So basically what are you saying? Similar to what we said before. He's not limited, he's unlimited. God is not unlimited. God is beyond being unlimited. And therefore, he chooses to care about my benching. He chooses to care about my davening. If you think that he only cares about the big things, not about the small things, some people are like that. Some people are very spiritual. Say, really, God doesn't care about that? Really? Some people say, oh, God really cares for his children. He wants people to become Bali Tshuva. So when you make Bali Tshuva, you don't have to be so strict on halacha. I'm moving it. It's not the law. It's the spirit of the law. So if by me doing certain, like cutting corners, I could make Bali Tshuva, really, God is beyond all these small things. The answer is, God is also beyond the spirit of the law. And God is also beyond of wanting Bali Tshuva. It's what God wants. That makes it significant. And if God says, in a small footnote in Shulchan Aruch to do something, that means God decided to care about that thing. He chooses to care. And by the way, choosing to care is the real love. That's what I tried to say before. As Rabbi Menes Friedman knows, when he talks to girls, he says, if a guy tells you, I really need you, run for your life. You know the guy is a needy guy. It's like you don't want to, if he really needs you. So what are you meant to tell a girl? I don't need you. I want you. I choose you. I have a perfect life without you. I'm busy. But I don't want to live my life without you. I choose you. That is hinted in the word tikkunin. Comes Dal Rebbe, and Dal Rebbe says, clothing is something external. Tikkunin, embellishment, is something that you unite with it. When a woman wears a wedding ring, what is she, the wedding band, the band? What does the band do? It covers you. Or it says, I am married. When you're wearing, when a judge is wearing a cloak, or a doctor is wearing a white gown, or it's not a good muscle because a white gown is it's like a gown, it's completely covered. But you're wearing a badge or something. That's called a tachshit. What is it saying? I became a doctor. I became a lawyer. I became a general. I became a policeman. It's something that I became. But now this is who I am. So what is God's involvement in the world? From a Kabbalistic perspective, God is completely beyond the world. From a Maimonides, from the Rambam's perspective, it's Madua, Yadua. From a Chassidic perspective, and the same is with our soul is completely beyond the 10 spheres. Why it says in Tanya like this? Because in Tanya, you want to compare it relatively to the Levushim. This is the Etzem HaNefesh. But what is the words of the Alter Rebbe over here? Therefore, they're called essence. The loy atzmius mamish, but they're not really essence. What is the real essence? The real essence is non-composite and completely beyond the 10 spheres. Eloshem nikroim b'tchein tikunin, they're called tikunin. Sha'nefesh mistakenes u'mislabeshes bohem. Because the nefesh mistakenes, how do you say mistakenes? Embellishes u'mislabeshes bohem and encloses them. But again, the idea is it encloses and becomes one. Guys, the whole idea of thought, speech, and action, that it's like clothing. You could change it very quickly. You could change your socks. When we were kids, there was like a tape, like a comedy tape for kids. So it was a story about a guy coming through customs, and they open up his they open up a suitcase, and it stinks. So they say, well, you don't wash your socks. So what? Socks is also something you wash. The guy didn't know English, so it's a translation from Yiddish. So it's like the sneakers stink. So it says, but when is that? From Tisha B'Av, and the guy translating says it's from the destruction of the temple. Says, oh, no matter that it stinks, it's 2,000 years old. Yeah. So it's like stupid kids' memories. Yeah, that's stuck in your head. But socks, you could just take them off and change them. Speech, you could change your speech. You could stop talking. Even thoughts. Thoughts. Boaz told me that he saw in the letter of the Rebbe, if you have a depressing thought, God did us a great favor that you could choose, you could only think one thought at a time, and you start thinking of other thoughts, and this thought goes away. That's it. It's something external. Levushay hanefesh. Sorry, not the levushay hanefesh. The nefesh itself. The 10 faculties. It's not the nefesh itself, but that is really who you are. It's your anatomy. It's your makeup. Who are you? You are the things you are attracted to. You are the things that you're appalled by. You are your perspectives. So now you're going to tell me, is this who I am? This is my existence? No, says Chassidus, no. Even that, after a lot of hard work, you could change. But this is how your existence is expressed. Your existence is expressed, not your thought, speech, and action, not your communication outwards. Does that make sense what we're saying? And that's why, when it comes to Bria Tzirasiya, when it comes to the worlds, we call it God's Levushim. When it comes to the 10 spheres, not in the Tanya. In Tanya, it's called the essence of the soul, but how's it called in the Zohar? Tikkunin, embellishments. Why? Because God chose to become one with them. God chose to unite himself with the spheres. Let's see inside. What does it say on the prohibition? On the prohibition of a man wearing women's clothes and a woman wearing men's clothes. What does the Targum say when he's talking about their clothing? Tikune. What is tikkun? Because that's the whole idea there. The idea is not he's wearing clothes in order to cover himself. He's trying to make a point. I'm a man. I'm a woman. He's trying to talk about his essence. He becomes one with it and becomes affected by it. And he becomes united with it. Guys, that's the point over here. He becomes united with it as if it is a part of his body. Just like the soul with the body. Even though the body is clothing to the soul, Chassidus wants to give us an example of uniting oneself with something. What is the example always in Chassidus? The body and the soul. Chassidus believes it's a very interesting thing, but Chassidus believes that all the faculties that we have through the body, the soul has it beforehand. The soul could see. In fact, the soul sees in a spiritual way, so it sees much further. I can't even use the word further because close or distant is a very physical idea. The way the soul sees, it sees things a completely different way. Right? Right, guys? How does the soul think? The soul thinks also. When the soul comes into the body, the reason why we see physicality is because the power of vision gets enclosed into our flesh eyes. And because we're in flesh eyes, we see. So I want to understand, who thinks? Our brain thinks or our soul thinks? If you take a mathematician's brain and you squeeze it out, you get numbers coming out of it? No. I don't think so. You think yes? Sure, okay. You graduated, you're a college graduate. You know these things maybe, what?
That's what they taught me.
So I don't understand. So the soul thinks. So why, if a person gets a bang in his head, he can't think? Because the soul unites himself with the brain. That's just like software and hardware. Our brain is the hardware. Lady, you want l'chaim? You're very tired? You want a bed? You have a couch. There's a bedroom. Maybe say l'chaim. We'll sing a Gishmak and Igan, and then we'll talk about the body and the soul. But basically, before we go to an Igan, before we say l'chaim, what is the idea? The symbiosis. Symbiosis is the word. Symbiosis.
Yeah.
The symbiosis between the body and the soul is such that the soul enters the body and unites himself with the body. Therefore, the soul also gets affected by the body. And therefore, when it's in a body, it can't see spirituality, only if you're a very holy, special person. So, l'chaim, everyone. Also, l'chaim should be le'um nishmas Vavichnan's mother, Mala Bas Rabbi Yoel. And our neshama, this Shabbos we're celebrating the Rebbe Rashab's the Rebbe Rashab's birthday. The Rebbe Rashab was the Rebbe Rashab taught Chassidus in the clearest way possible. So l'chaim, l'chaim.
Chaim. That one because it's too
Guys, let's only, now that we understand the idea, let's read a bit. He's basically going to say this idea. Let's cover some ground. Ultimately, this is a Likutei Torah club, and then we could farbring. But let's see the idea. Just like the soul with the body, that even though that the body is a clothing to the soul. Still, the nefesh gets affected by the guf. A very good example for that is anyone who's ever a tutor in a children's class. Obviously the teacher is not a child, but he becomes united with them in a way that he gets affected by them. Like sometimes you see kindergarten teachers become babies. I don't want to offend anyone, right? It's they remind themselves right away, yeah. But that's the idea of enclothing. Means it's not the way our soul works with our body, says Chassidus. It's not in a way that the soul just tells the body what to do, like a person driving a car. A car gets hit, the person doesn't necessarily feel it if it doesn't like reach it. But if a person gets hit, it hurts. What hurts? The flesh hurts. The soul hurts. My life hurts. Why? Because my life is invested in my body. So let's read inside. When the body moves his finger, feels it. The same as also when the nefesh, when the soul wants to do something with one of its limbs. The limbs listen to that will right away. When he decides to do the action, the foot to walk, you don't feel, says the Alter Rebbe, you don't feel that you're giving a command to the foot, and the foot does it like as a separate being. It's not only because it's quick. Sometimes people ask this question, what do you mean? Science teaches us that there's nerves. And there is a command, but it's not a command. When you drive a car, you drive a lot of time. It's a certain
An extension of you.
a car. No, that's the idea. Was trying to say that it's not really an extension. It's like it just works very quick. But with your hands, you don't. It's you. It's a part of you. The nefesh and the guf work together. The limbs listen to this will right away. When he decides to do a certain action, without any thought, it's the nerves take the command, but you don't have to think about it. There's no thought process from the brain to the foot. If so, there was some time. Again, the time over here is not the point of time. It's a certain feeling that you're not feeling that you're pushing something. It's you. Right away when he decides that he wants to do it, it happens right away. Think about speech. Is it our brain telling our tongue how to speak? Someone might come and say, oh, because we're so used to doing it, we're doing it very quickly. It's not a question of doing it quickly. Your mouth, your tongue, your expression is so, it's like almost in sync with your soul. This is not because the body unites himself with the nefesh. He chooses to become one. And the nefesh acts in the body like his will, as if it would be its essence. Even though the body is a clothing to the nefesh, he unites himself with the nefesh. The same thing, Yuval will be understood. The Indian of the Seichel Midas Shal Nefesh. Shehin Gam Kain Rak Bechinas Tikunin Ulevushim Shanefesh Mistakenes Mislabeshel Behem. That they too are only adornments and clothing that the nefesh adores itself and it clothes himself. They are the vessels of the nefesh. Yeah. Should I continue reading? You're following? You have me?
Yeah.
Through them, the nefesh acts like an axe in the hand of the chopper. To love with the midah of love, and all this, and similar to it, that it's only outwards. The nefesh by itself is higher from all these levels. Because ultimately, not like socks that you could just take it off right away, or even a thought that you could change it. It takes much longer, but still, things change. Kibamidas, emotions, yeshkatlas or gadlos. Shakoton, dedekoton, oihev dvorim ktanim. He loves small things. Vaseichel, and also the wisdom. Kol maskinim, the older a person becomes, he becomes smarter if he's a learned person. This wouldn't be relevant in the essence, because essence doesn't change. Essence doesn't change. And they do not receive any changes from the bodily actions. Because she by herself doesn't get enclosed in the essence, in its essence in the body. Ella rather, its glimmer and its power, they are the ones that come into the body. I don't want to elaborate on it, but basically what Al Tareb is claiming over here, that essence doesn't go in, it's the essence, the light of the essence that goes in. Intellect and emotions are not the actual essence of the soul. The soul of the person, how does he act? He acts through these powers and through these lights. Even though I just explained to you that the nefesh is much higher than the intellect and emotions, they're not external, separate, independent clothing. Like thought, speech, and action. That they are completely like clothing. Just like a clothing that covers. But intellect and emotions, they are glimmers from the essence of the soul. They're not levushim mamish. Eloti kunin. They are adornments. Just like a jewelry that beautifies the person, embellishes the person, that wears that jewelry and he makes himself pretty. The same idea will also be understood by the 10 spheres that are called tikkunim. We already spoke about it. He says the Alter Rebbe, Antu Chakim. Pirush, what does it mean, Antu? Antu, you are the one. Who is the one? Hainu Oiden Soft, infinite light of God. Chakim. Chakim is what? Shanim Shem Chenes Chochma. The Eibishter by himself gets drawn into the level of Chochma. Yeah, this big Eibishter, the unlimited God that is not even unlimited to being unlimited, that is not even limited to being limited, over there you could find that the Eibishter goes into the small thing. If you want to go into it, but some simple words that what he's saying is the Pasuk Yo says over there, Antu Chakim v'lo Chachma Yediyah. Antu is the essence. Chakim is the way the Eibishter comes into Chachma. And even when he comes into Chachma, it's not the Chachma Yediyah, it's not the Chachma as we know it. We call the Eibishter Chachma because he's the source of Chachma. Hagam she'en aroi Chachma de Bria, call Shknas Eliyahu Snikram Shem Chakim, Al Shem Zeh. I want to use the beautiful mashal that is over here. With this, we're going to finish to learn because it's a lot of deep stuff. The Alter Rebbe says over here like this: if it's so high, why do we call him Chachma? He says because he's the source of Chachma. So what do you mean? So if it's the source of Chachma, why do we call it Chachma? So over here, the Alter Rebbe gives one of the best example mashalim. Who am I to give it? Let me just turn on the oven. Like this, when we finish, we have our leftovers.
Same old. Torah Ohr.
I don't know.
There's two people.
Pass them around.
Where did you get up to, Josh? In the line?
Where did I get up to? Literally at this point, actually.
So let's say one more nakuda, and in 10 minutes we'll take out the food and we'll maybe start covering. Let's see how what is the best example for Seder Ishtalshalos? Seder Ishtalshalos is something everybody says. Anyone that learns Chassidus, Seder Ishtalshalos is the descending chain from one world to another world, descending chain. So you don't know if to see a metal chain or a descending. I don't know what is it. It says Chassidus like this. Everybody understands that everything comes from a source. And everybody also understands that in the source it's not exactly the same. So why, if it's not exactly the same or it's not even the same thing, so how does it work, that connection? It says Chassidus the following. Let's take an example, sweetness. What is the meaning of a sweet coffee? Everybody understands over here that sweet coffee is something that you feel in your buds. I told you this Likutei Torah is what we do in the morning, just quicker. What is this? Something sweet you feel in the buds. What is the meaning of a sweet person? Good. Or a sweet joke? So this is something very interesting. Always when I ask people, what does it mean a sweet person? It's very hard to describe. What does it mean a sweet person? A good person? No. There's a lot of good people. They're not considered to be sweet. So what's the connection between sweet candy and a sweet person? Or a sweet joke? Oh, that was so sweet. Sweet is not nice. Sweet is not good. Sweet is sweet. Even though we can't describe it, but everybody understands that there's a certain common denominator in a sweet person, a sweet candy, and a sweet song, and a sweet joke.
It's like you're all warm and comforting. No way. Or the feeling you have once you're on the end of it. Or recipient end of it.
Yeah, would you say that that's the sweet coffee and a sweet person causes the same feeling of warm and comforting?
No, but
So that's exactly the point that Alter Rebbe is trying to make over here. The point that Alter Rebbe wants is for you to understand that even though we can't explain it, everybody understands that in every world, the word sweet means something else. In the world of people, sweet means something. In the world of apples, it means something. In the world of coffee, it means something. And in the world of jokes, it means something. And in the world of nigunim, it means something. And still, they're connected. They mean something else completely, but they're connected. That's one of the best misholim in Chassidus for the idea of Seder Ishtalshalos. So even though that we're saying that God is the wisdom, and it's not the wisdom that we know, but it's still the source of the wisdom that we know. Let's see it inside. This is like personally, the reason why I like Likutei Torah Club is because the whole week I talk a lot in class. Likutei Torah Club, I have the ability to say the words of the holy words of the Holy Alter Rebbe. Less talking and let's do the words. Hagam, even though even though it's not incommensurate. There's no connection between the Chochmah of Bria, in order to be called Chakim. On this name, our rabbis of blessed memory say there's no blade of grass down here that doesn't have a source above, and higher and higher. The physical apple, has sweetness, and the cheek tastes the food. Will we say will we say that there's actual sweetness in the power of growth in the earth? Upshita, and it's definitely b'mazel in the constellation, shein merech mehuzeh klal, that is completely not in the same realm of having sweetness like an apple has. Ella only inyan hu shamasikus nimshach mechesed. Sweetness comes from chesed. Umeriru, and bitterness mikvura. Varehem inyonim rochnim. They are spiritual things. Actually, Mishtal will say but when it comes down the descending chain, one level after another level, nizgashmu, they become physical, until they're drawn from the level of chesed, mesikus, sweetness. From the level of chesed comes sweetness. Even though it's completely not connected to it, it's not even commensurate, the kolmokim still, it's still from the same concept. As we see, like we see a lot of sweetness in good taste in ruchnius. Enjoying something smart is also sweet. Could also have the enjoyment of a nigun. It's something connected to the heart, to emotions. Therefore, when it continues going down, it becomes physical sweetness. Hagam, even though shehefresh v'hev l'rav b'neihem, even though there's a big difference between them. The same idea is also in Chochmah. Sheyesh v'gam ken gavoya mal gavoya. That also has one level higher than the other level. Agam shechochmah debride edenberg v'lemus chochmah niras v'nigas v'asiya. Even though the chochmah and the level of bria is completely higher, not in the same realm of chochmah that is seen in the world of asiya. Still, who mocker v'shoyrish liyos memena savas chenus chochmah asiya niglas. Still, it's the source of the chochmah that we see down here. Even though that God is wisdom and not in the wisdom as we know it, still, he bechinas mocker the mocker. It's the source of the source. But between God and the Chochmah is completely something new. God had to create the Chochmah. I don't want to say the word creation because we're talking about Atzilus, it's emanation, but it's still not, it's not coming from God. God had to create it. There's a certain leap over there. That's why, that's God's humility, that God decided to descend and go into the level of Chochmah. That's the idea of Atzilus and Lashon Kodesh, emanation. He goes down into a lower level, and as we said in the class in the morning, that the word Atzilus has two definitions in Hebrew. One, Atzilus means eitzel, close. That's according to the idea, the more philosophical way of looking at it. But then, from a Kabbalistic perspective, the world of Atzilus is really an emanation from God. God is beyond Atzilus, and He creates the world of Atzilus. Yeah, and He starts saying over here the idea of the emanation with Moshe Rabbeinu. Okay, and he goes back and he finishes again. Let's just skip one paragraph. The same thing is above. In Atzilus, what is the concept of the world of Atzilus? That's the concept of God descending to become enclosed. The infinite light should become enclosed in Chachma. That's why the 10 spheres are called the 10 adornments. Because they are garments for Ein Sof and not essence. But still, it's not really garments. Embellishments. Because God and His spheres and His kalim become one. Completely different in the world of Biyah. Okay, I think we learned enough. L'chaim. Let me bring the food.
L'chaim.
Let's get some alpha in here.
So nice to see you.
Hey, I got a horse.
Just one.
There are plates. Everybody has plates. So make sure the other side, Yaakov also has some.
Pass me the chicken? Can you pass me a chicken, please? You know exactly where my eyes was. Exactly at that point. Okay.
I couldn't fish on enough.
It's over here.
When it's your time.
Oh, yeah, thank you. There's more plates.
Which
Uh,
pieces were you taking more pieces?
Take a piece.
Take it? Yeah, it's gonna be-
Your name was Miguel, huh?
What?
Michael. Miguel?
Okay.
Michael. What's your great comment?
I used to have it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Right. You want the live to keep going? You want the live to keep going?
The what?
The live
Stream.
stream.
Let them eat too.
How did you catch me right? Yes.
No,
I catch you right when I was
You can send them food to eat.
You catch me right when I was getting. You're waiting.
I took off the fish because we don't want to have fish.
No, it's fine. You're not allowed to in public.
Oh, that?
You know,
What public?
drink in public on uniform.
Oh.
Inside, you can do whatever you want.
No, I didn't know. I wouldn't.
No, it's all good.
Wouldn't
completely fine.
decided you.
Where's the napkin?
Oh, guys, you have napkins for the wings.
Why?
There's the Yom Kippur War. There's so many views of vouchers having the time stickers. No?
Personally,
It's very
time period is
interesting.
very different.
No, it's very interesting because when I was in the army, I used to ask for, like, I used to go Shabbosim to be with soldiers. I used to want to bring wine. So it told me, like, bring it in a simple bottle. Then I looked up the rules. For Kiddush, you're allowed to have wine. In the Pkudat Matkal. Look up the rules. I look up, what?
What was it, Fred?
Ready?
I looked it up. They won't let us have wine.
Well, first of all, the cost is a lot of things. But lower down, you can make whatever prohibitions you want.
Okay? Nobody used to tell me that it's prohibited.
It is, but not from the Matkal, you know, but it might be from a lower level, whatever it is. I don't know at what level it starts.
Let's take the. Huh?
The commander of the base.
Oh, it could be the commander of the base added in who
But
is
it's
served.
not, it's everywhere, so it must be much higher.
No, I think they don't know. It's like, no?
It's a good idea, I don't know. You'll go to jail. For drink on base.
For Kiddush?
Yeah, even for Kippur.
You're allowed to drink in Chanayam, in the Navy.
Yeah?
There's special scenarios. It's tradition.
So l'chaim everyone.
L'chaim.
L'chaim for Klal Yisrael. Should have a smashing victory.
I mean,
And as we said last week, what?
we're doing very well in Gaza.
Baruch Hashem, Baruch Hashem. So, okay, we have over here a source
I heard we
telling us.
surrounded the city actually.
What?
I don't know strategic details, just know that we're doing very well. I know what we're doing is working.
Also, Jordan and Saudi Arabia denied Yemen air control over their countries. No standing.
I saw the Saudi Arabians are also calling Hamas Daesh, Hamas ISIS.
They both intercepted missiles from
Yeah, they intercept missiles.
Yeah.
Jordan intercepted one recently before the Saudi Arabia intercepted some.
Shooting 200 miles.
Oh man,
Crazy.
I don't have it. Like I don't have stories yet.
Not sure, but is this happen like super fast?
You want some wings? Oren, you want some wings?
They assaulted from midnight to 3 a.m. And then from the 30th
That chick was amazing.
20 died.
I didn't eat
Yeah.
before, so
Then escaped.
Ah.
that was amazing.
For the wings,
The
there,
technique
so.
of the strategy. we use
So
can't
full
say it.
after all
No,
the
the
fish.
strategy
If
we're
you would've told
using
me
completely
earlier, I would have eaten so much tuna fish.
And we take no losses.
Yeah, bro.
Amazing.
Yeah.
You have
Being very careful.
which unit are you in? Strategic.
I'm in combat engineering, same as Oren
Egypt,
was. We're in the same unit.
No. My friend is in Bugatti, so I can gather.
You know, it really seems
They're
like,
going really fast.
people were.
I've heard we've
So,
actually,
yeah,
Waves
the
here,
what?
all around the
Really
world,
fast.
all over.
They said it was gonna
You know,
take
what are they
months
waiting for? What are they waiting for?
They were ready like the other side.
They
Is
guys
it?
like
Huh?
took their time and they figured it
Yeah.
out.
They
They
said
got
it was
some
gonna, maybe it
good-
was gonna take 3 months to get.
different reasons.
Gabriel, last week we spoke about the idea that that they say that the conception fell apart. The conception was that really the Hamas wants to live a good life, and they don't really want to kill us. They just want to try to do things in order to achieve. That now we realize that what they want is just to kill us.
It's kind of hard to beat around the bush for that.
I mean, we knew that, you're saying the world.
No. Also us. Also us.
lot of
We
people in
thought that
Israel.
a lot of people in Israel believe
They
that.
got their motives changed.
Yeah, then ultimately, how long could you want to fight? You want to.
Interesting, the Rabbi never spoke about the enemy so much.
On the other side.
In politics too, there's not much disagreement.
Yeah, like I don't know, I don't see any news, I have no idea. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Like the Knesset, they're not fighting over what to do.
Yeah.
All of it's wrong.
What we spoke about last week was the same is also in Avodas Hashem. In Avodas Hashem, sometimes we think that the Yetzer Hara just wants to have a good life, wants to have some fun, and he doesn't really want to kill me. Doesn't really want to like destroy me. Just wants to have a bit fun. Let me be a bit lazy. Let me sleep in a bit. Let me. Suddenly we understand that Hamas is ISIS. And the Yetzer Hara is ISIS, and it wants one thing. It wants to see you dead. And I think it's a very, very strong message. That with enemies, like this, if there's an enemy that has has a small motive, okay, so you could still try to negotiate peace. But if the enemy's motive is to destroy your life, how are you going to make peace? How are you going to, what's there to negotiate? Tell them, okay, what do you want? I want one thing, I want you dead.
There's no compromise to be made on.
Yeah.
You kill half of us.
Yeah, that's the, okay, nobody wants, no, even that is not a compromise. Kill half? No, I want all of you dead. Guys, you want some wings on this side?
I had a bit of time to study this week. with Hashem.
I'm just saying that in Avodas Hashem, it's so true. But we sometimes think that there's like a small nakuda that is like, but really, the Nefesh Bahamis, he's cruel, he's evil. That's why it says in the Gemara, it says, Hu asotn, hu amalach hamoves, hu yetzer hara, hu amalach hamoves, hu asotn. It's the same one that comes and tells you, no, you really need to sleep in. Comes afterwards and does the guilt. And then after the guilt, say, if I'm already so guilty, I can't learn, I'm so guilty. I can't do the right thing, I'm so guilty, I'm depressed. Then what happens after being depressed? There's a Lashon in the Alter Rebbe who remembers chapter 26. Why does the Yetzer Hara want us to be depressed?
So it reduces
By
our
being,
resistance to.
what does it say in chapter 26?
This is the exact word. We say that it reduces the resistance to sin. When you're sad.
Wow. It's like Gabriel is such a nice guy.
I just happened to be reading it this week.
Yeah, no, but you're so nice that you're saying it reduces your
That was the
resistance.
translation.
That's because you're so nice. The Alter Rebbe says that the reason why the Yetzer Hara wants you to be depressed, because after you're depressed, it's easy for him to deteriorate you into sin. Kedei la'piloi achar kach b'taivis. It's like when a person is depressed, the Yetzer Hara could afterwards la'piloi, how we would say la'piloto, knock him down into physical desires. So why does the Yetzer Hara want to see us depressed? Because a happy person is a person that is more focused. A happy person is a person that has a mission in life. Someone that is depressed, it's very easy to get him. Let's close the door.
To the left,
Please, yeah.
To the right.
That one, that.
No, now it's closed.
Ah.
It's a pretty good door. That's it. That's what he wants. So he comes and he's nice to you. And then he says, no, but I want a bit more. It's ultimately, he wants to see you dead. He wants to destroy you. No, why do you have to apologize? Feel free, guys. It's a farbreng. It's not the reason why it's over here, not in yeshiva, because it's not formal. Like Hasidim, there was a song that they used to sing to the Yetzer Hara. It's in Yiddish, so it goes like this: Ach du Yetzer Hara, geh zu deine Brüder. You Yetzer Hara, go to your brothers. Like, leave me alone. Geh zu deine Brüder, sie wollen dir hören, sie wollen dir folgen, sie wollen tun dein Begehr. They will listen to you, they will obey to you, they will do your will. Aber mir Hasidim Chabadnikes, but us Hasidim Chabadnikim. Zogen, we say, Tzamalecha nafshi. But we say, I thirst to you, I thirst to you, God, my soul. My soul thirsts to you, God. But we need. I know it's so not in these days to have hate, because we're all nice and cool. But sometimes I believe, my wife doesn't like it, but my wife is from California, so she doesn't like it. I say a person that doesn't know how to hate doesn't know how to love. And to a certain extent, I did, for most of my life, I didn't believe in hate at all. I thought it doesn't make any sense. It took me about 20 years to find out that to say it doesn't make any sense is ridiculous, because hate was never meant to make sense. It's an emotion. It's not an intellectual thing. What?
But the tzaddik is mishban. How much they hate sin?
Exactly. Chapter.
What?
No.
No, we just finished.
Chapter.
20 something.
Oh.
29?
Nope.
No, it's definitely before 12. That's what I was saying.
Exactly. It's before 12, because 12 is already the Benoni.
Yeah.
6. It's 10.
Just guessing.
There's no point in guessing. But we need to hate evil. We need to hate evil. We need to hate evil. And you don't have to become a hater. The opposite, a person that has emotions. A person that has emotions could also be very loving, but evil is over here in order to destroy us. And that's it. That's it. How could you compromise with these people? How could you make peace with these people? And it's not easy for me to say it. At heart, I'm not that type. I'm not that type. I don't believe in fighting. I don't believe in it. It doesn't come natural to me. And as I told you, like for 20 years I didn't believe in hate at all. But
Why? What was your reason?
what was my reason
For
eviscerating hate?
Yeah.
Because most probably somewhere in my life I escaped my emotions to my brain. And in my brain it didn't make any sense. What's the point of hating someone? You don't like him, leave. He's a terrible person, call the police. was in my brain. It took me a lot of years to understand that it's not all in the brain. Ultimately, it's in the heart. And hate says, I want to live, and anything that is going to try to kill me, I am going to despise it. I'm going to despise it. That's it. It's not nice. The whole world says it's not nice what we're doing now. I just saw a clip. Someone sent me a clip of someone arguing, some Muslim girl arguing with Ben Shapiro. And she started saying in Dresden, they bombed, she says in Dresden they didn't bomb civilians, and everybody cracks up laughing. You saw that video? So, I'm not embarrassed to say I didn't know about Dresden. So I looked it up. So I saw that the British and the Americans bombed 25,000 people in Dresden. After the war, there was a lot of discussion if that was justified. So I thought to myself, that's so brilliant. They discussed it after the war. Why is it that we're trying to save our lives? We're discussing it before the war. So bomb the daylights out of them. They should never even think of touching us again. And afterwards we'll discuss if it's justified or not. What? It's like they bombed 25,000 people. In Hiroshima and Nagasaki, how many people did we kill? No. It's about, I think,
Like
180,000?
I was thinking between 150 and 200,000 probably.
Between 150 and 200,000 people. Okay, what am I trying to talk about? We need to kill people. I don't think we need to kill people, and it has nothing to do with most of us. Most of us were not in the army. What does it mean for us? When the Yetzer Hara comes tomorrow morning and says, "Don't wake up the Chassidus," or "Don't do whatever you need to do." Yeah.
Hiroshima's 140,000, you guys are right.
How many?
140,000.
140.
Hiroshima?
Yeah,
Hiroshima and Nagasaki?
that was just Hiroshima.
So not,
Just
so
Hiroshima.
we're looking at like 250,000.
Just a heads up, Shabbos starts at 4:15, so you can't wake up then.
It's 4:15.
Candlelight is 4:15 because we moved the clock.
No, 3 Shabbos and
Sunday waking before.
But tomorrow we have to go wake up for Shachris for Rabbi Vichnin. You can't leave Rabbi Vichnin like that.
After the war, I've heard of it.
myself.
I've heard
You volunteered yourself.
I didn't hear the
I saw you doing it.
It's hard.
Wow.
So next time the Yetzer Hara comes, like, what do you think? Why do you think the Rebbe spoke so much about not giving back land? And the Rebbe wasn't into politics. The Rebbe was talking to us, to Chassidim, and telling us, don't give in to the Yetzer Hara. Don't give in. You give in once. You give him a finger. He wants a hand. And then he comes and says, "Oh, we just want more. We just want more Palestinians to get work permits in Israel." Little did we know that now all those 10,000 people, I don't know all, but a lot of those 10,000 people that got permits, they spied all the places that they went. So we're nice to them, and they go. So we're trying to be nice to our body and to our physical desires, and we're trying to say, okay, we'll give in this time. Okay, this time we'll have an ice cream. This time we'll do. And little do we know that it's over here. It's like a Trojan horse comes in. Little do you know that 6 months down the line you realize, I didn't learn anything these 6 months. I didn't daven anything these 6 months. Where am I? Where's my Jewish feeling? I am completely, how do you say, extinguished. So l'chaim. I know I already said a part of it last week, but I can't stop thinking about it because I want to get along with my Yetzer Hara, but you can't. How long am I going to stay such a leftist? How extreme leftist could I be? Like, be a liberal, no problem. in Israel, by the way, in Israel there's a very left paper. It's called Haaretz. Don't repeat this, but I'm live. Fine, live. How many millions millions of people that are watching this?
Somebody's gonna find it. It's gonna be a meme on social media. It's gonna be like crazy Orthodox rabbi talks about.
Don't repeat this. I like reading it. I'm a real.
I still
What?
I still have it on my phone too.
Oh wow.
It's pretty
Then
good.
you- then you can choose.
Heresy.
I would read it, but I'm pretty sure the subscription. No.
No, you can read it normally.
I don't know, but basically, it certainly depends. Guys, I'm not trying to promote the Aretz now, but it's so since the war broke out, since the war broke out, they're pinching themselves like we're all like they're like extreme left in Israel. It's like what's going on with the world's left? What's going on with the world's left? Like we have just been slaughtered, and the world's left just doesn't give a hoot. And you see how people are so disappointed that like their whole perspective changed. And when again, we're not talking politics over here. We're not talking. That's not the point of our conversation. When are we going to start understanding that we have to tell the Yetzer Hara? You know the song Yitzi that I just sang before. Ach du Yetzer Hara, geh zu deine Brüder, go to your brothers. They wollen dir hören, they will listen to you. They wollen dir folgen, they'll obey you. They wollen tun dein Bagger, they'll do your will, your desires. Aber mir Chassidim Chabadnike sagen Toma Lecha B'Sari. I don't remember, but basically that's the point. Say go, I have to tell the Yetzer Hara, go to Aza. In Hebrew, we want to say, instead of saying going to H-E, hockey sticks, yeah? Say, go to Gaza. But that's how like Lech Gaza. You ever heard the expression?
Bring in Gaza.
What?
You remember you brought up the letter from the radio? That was about how you get rid of bad thoughts.
Yeah.
There were two parts I wanted to say when we talked about during this class also. He also told them to concern himself with words of Torah and to consistently go to mitzvah.
The words of Torah is that's a very interesting point. The idea of saying words of involving yourself with words of Torah is in the Rambam already. The Rambam says that if a person has sexual thoughts, he should divert those thoughts to words of Torah, and then he brings a lot of psukim into the Torah. Is this a deer of love and full of charm, and in the pasuk he moves on, giving more graphic description how the Torah is the ultimate substitute to all physical desires and thoughts, which is a very interesting point. To a certain extent, it's the opposite of what we said. Why? Because we said that when you have a thought, just divert it to a different thought. The Rambam, and that same Rambam is found in Shulchan Aruch too. Everybody quotes that same Rambam. Says you should think the words of Torah. Why do you have to think? Why do you have to think words of Torah? You have a bad thought. Think mathematics. When you think mathematics, also you won't think. But everybody understands. I think the simple answer is that everybody understands. If you just think mathematics, you just dealt with the issue once, because you just gave it an alternative. If you think words of Torah, you changed your perspective, and that helps for much longer. But L'chaim, Gabriel, our soldier, wanted to say something.
You reminded me, I think it was in chapter 26. I think. 26, 25. Just in general, the matzav, the situation, everybody's a little bit down.
Well,
I think it's different now, right? I mean, I'm not here, but I think in general the mood is lightened, right? As opposed to like Simchas Torah and the first week.
right, people were very depressed in the beginning, yeah.
But in general, I mean, it's always easier to say after the fact, after something serious happens, that it's like, for the best, you can find like the nice twist in it. But in general, the Rebbe was saying how the way that evil works is that Hashem waits for it, lets it come up at its strongest point, so that he can knock it down at its strongest point. So it doesn't mean anything for him to knock it down when it's not something so serious.
What do you mean that's something so serious?
When it's like when Hamas is like doing whatever little things that they're doing for us to beat them, then it's not such a big deal. It's not such a Kiddush Hashem. The whole point is that they have to show that it's a serious thing. It's not just Hamas. It's everybody. Everybody's about to get involved. It's just starting. So everybody's going to get involved.
Maybe I'm missing something. What do you mean everybody gets involved?
It's not just Hamas. You got Hezbollah. You have Iran, the puppet masters.
The
Yemenites.
Everybody. Iran's the whole puppet masters.
No?
Yeah, all the anti-Semitism.
But once Iran gets involved, America's involved. When that happens, Russia and China, everybody's involved. Not saying this to scare people. Saying that this is it. The Mashiach's right here because everybody's getting involved, and it's the requirement because Hashem allows for the evil to come up in its strongest state, for us to knock it down with one fell swoop, and that's it.
Misham Ridcha. How does the pasuk say? Tagbia kanesher. The evil will rise like a eagle,
Like an eagle.
and from there Hashem will knock him down.
It's 26.
Which point?
This what I'm saying, because I think it's connected also to sadness and to not get sad about how when you have thoughts.
24.
26 is speaking of thoughts.
Is that what, wrestler?
The wrestler is 26, the beginning of 26.
Yeah, 26 is the wrestler. With bad the strong guy having bad thoughts. Yeah, 26.
Depression. So.
Depression and everything. And he will lose.
Well,
he
he's
will
asking
go-
where in Tanya does it say Misham Ridcha?
It's either 26 or 27.
Yeah, I don't remember now. I think it's 27. That when a person has bad thoughts and then he fights his thoughts.
Yeah, it's
But it's,
after the whole thing about the wrestlers.
so in some ways it's exciting. Obviously, depends on how you look at it, but it's exciting in certain ways. Like
What is
showing
it?
their face, when they have a face, that's it. You can knock it down.
Yesterday there was like a Hamas leader that said that I'm not embarrassed to say we're going to do it again. And my wife was she really didn't like it. She said that's terrible. They're saying they're going to do it again. I told her this is most probably the best video of the whole war. It gives us legitimacy for another month.
They'll find a way to.
What?
They'll find a way to put it back on us.
There's a Rashi less partial because the nation doesn't have his it said that and Hashem doesn't punish a nation until it's done its quota of evil.
Right. I think it's the Gemara's site though, no? Yeah, with the blades.
It was like people, because people keep on tearing down the posters. So a person put blades, like razor blades.
Why is this?
Oh right, yes.
So when they were pulling up, they
What
would have
idea
to-
that is?
People still put Vaseline.
Like, because they put up the posters, people keep tearing down the posters. Yeah, so you put on the backside.
That by itself just shows the anti-Semitism. So let's say you're a pro-Palestinian, but why not give back abducted people?
Yeah.
The other thing is, like, until now, I Anti-Semite is always like a word, I never believed in it. Like, right, how many anti-Semites could there be already? That was a joke. No, they don't like, oh, you're anti-Semite, like, it's a joke. The airport person made fun of you if you call an anti-Semite, or they give you a hard time like they give everyone else anti-Semite. You're like a funny
It seems like Noah. You see with the anti-Semitism is like Noah with the flood. It's like I'm not gonna believe it till I see it.
No, now, but I thought it was like, I didn't realize it was such like a big thing. And it's not called anti-Semite. As Monis Friedman says, it's called, people should stop calling it anti-Semite. It's such a beautiful, nice word people say, anti-Semite. People should start calling it anti-Jew, because that's what it is. No one has the guts to say anti-Jew. I'm an anti-Jew. No one wants to say that.
Because Semites beat around the bush say, oh well, you know.
It makes them feel
Well,
sad.
Anti-Semitic means
Muslims are
anti-Jew.
Semites. They are too.
Semite also
Yeah.
includes.
Yeah,
I
but
can't
it
be
doesn't.
anti-Semite because I'm
No, what do you
Semite.
mean? Hitler's best friend was the Mufti of Jerusalem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was a Semite, so he couldn't be
Yeah.
That's
anti-Semite.
the word that beaten up so much.
No, anti-Semite means anti-Jewish.
Yeah.
I don't think it's like.
It
means
that.
dictionary
definition of it.
What?
That's the dictionary definition of anti-Semitism.
What? Anti-Jewish.
Anti-Jewish.
Sure.
It's just
sure.
people
It's just
dissect it
just-
and say
Yeah,
Semite.
it
Yeah, it's
depends on
just
how they
a-
feel in the moment, how they want to treat the
No,
definition.
no one will walk around saying I'm an anti-Jew. It's like saying I'm anti-Christian. No one. Like, it's
No one
too
says
strong.
no one says anti-Jew because it's like saying
You're a Nazi.
no. Nazis are also anti-Semites. It's like it's not proper English. That's the only reason.
Right, well, they use Semite. It makes you feel
Funny
special.
people are concerned about being grammatically correct when hating Jewish people.
Grammar Nazis.
No, someone wants to share something they thought this week, they learned this week. Sing a nigga maybe. What? Shabbos is going to be the Rebbe Shabbos yard site. No, not yard site, birthday. The Rebbe Shab was into teaching Chassidus very clearly. Rebbe Shab started the yeshiva to teach Chassidus for young people like us. Before that, Chassidus was taught for older ages. And the Rebbe Shab really believed that the way to change the world, the way to change ourselves, is by involving ourselves in the knowledge and in the learning of Chassidus. This morning in class, we discussed a very interesting mashal. Thank you. We discussed a very interesting mashal to this whole idea. How is Chassidus meant to change your life? How is Chassidus meant to change your perspective? And we discussed that Chassidus, the way Chassidus is meant to work is that once you understand really, Chassidus is not like other systems. There's other systems that are more direct. You have to do like this, you're not allowed to do like this. It's also like, it's much more motivational. So therefore you should do this, and therefore you should do like that. Chassidus believes in just talking about Sfiras. We just spent like an hour and a half. We spoke about, is God involved in Atzilus, not involved in Atzilus? And Chassidus believes, and the Rebbe Shab believes, that ultimately the idea is that once you start learning more about God and godliness becomes more real in your eyes, automatically you will be drawn to the godliness within everything. And the mashal for that we used this morning, it's based on the mashal that Rebbe Rashab, is monopoly money. Kids, if you want to take away $100 bill from a child, what do? You give him a nickel, a dime, a quarter, and a penny. Then you go to him and you tell him, I have 4 money, I'm giving you 4 monies. You give me the $100 bill. And this is not just a piece of paper, this is real money. It's money. What happens the second you start understanding the value of money? Say, you could give me 15 of these, 20 of these. I don't see paper, I see worth. Why? Because that's a part of maturity. We all used to play Lego when we were children, yeah, or playing with matchbox cars. What happened one day? Yeah, did we make a resolution? Okay, I'm stopping to play with Monopoly money. I'm making a resolution. Achmata, I am never, ever going to play with the matchbox cars again. You have to make a achota like that. You don't make a achota. Okay, so if you have a hobby and this is something else. But most people like and then when no one saw, you go under the cover and you play with the matchbox car or you collect Monopoly money. The second, what am I trying to say is the second you become mature, Monopoly money doesn't talk to you anymore. The second you become mature, it loses its worth. We are trying to become mature spiritually. And that's why we want to learn about God. We want to learn about Atzilus. We want to learn. What is the point? The point is that for us, godliness should be a real thing. And just like when it comes to money, we all understand money. We all understand what it means, the worth of money. So too, if we become mature human beings, we are going to look within everything. Is it more godly or less godly? If it's something that is more godly, I'm going to be more drawn to it. If it's something that is less godly, I'm less drawn to it. So Chassidus believes less in having this whole fight with the Yetzer Hara. Resolution, I slipped again. Yeah, it is some things that I do slip, certain things I don't slip. Stop making a whole fuss of it. Make godliness something more tangible, palpable, real. Make it a part of your reality. Mature a bit. Slowly, you'll start seeing that certain things attract you less. So l'chaim, may the Rebbe Rashab's dream of making us appreciate more Chassidus, make it become a reality.
Amen.
So l'chaim.
Amen.
Zach, thank you for the mashka. Josh, you want to share something you learned this week? You thought this week?
I think about it.
Oren, you want to share something?
Nothing comes to mind specifically.
Which niggin comes to mind? But a deep one, a schmacker one. You have a good niggin?
Yeah.
Which
Oh, the
one?
one we're learning this week.
Which one are you learning this week?
It's I don't. The name is just Negan Shabbos Yantiv.
So many niggin Shabbos Yom. But the one that Vishnitz stole and put it on the words Ravravin?
It's wordless. There's no words.
Yeah, but Vishnitz put it onto words of the Zmiris. Goes this one? This is also an English Shabbos Yom. Well, do you want to share something?
From this week, or
Yeah, something you're thinking of, something is on your heart and your mind.
think. That's fine. Give me like a topic or something. Give me a topic.
It's come from. I want to share something small that happened to me last night. Last night, the whole day I was running around trying to, like, I can't say the whole day, but a part of the day I was running around trying to, like, take care of some stuff for the Vichnet. Came 9 o'clock at night, I was already zonked. I just wanted to finish my day, but a friend of mine made a l'chaim for a son. The son got engaged. They made a l'chaim. In the beginning, I thought that it's somewhere close over here, so I just walked instead of taking my car. Then I come over there, that hall is closed. So I said, "Oh, I made a mistake." So it's all the way at the end of Meir Shara. So I go there. I was tired. I was there for 5 minutes, and I decided, okay, instead of me walking back home, I'll just take the train. The train reaches Meir Shara from the other side. I get onto the train, and I think it's the first time in my life I forgot to pay. I usually, even if I take for one, sometimes I have to run to pick up my daughter, I take for one. And exactly this time, I'm just sitting with myself, and the guy comes over. "Where's your Ravka?" I've been inspected hundreds of times. It's like, "Oosh, I didn't pay." 185 shekel ticket. Wasn't happy. It's so not cool. I told him, look, I have my move it over here. I pay. I can show you all the times I paid. I was like, completely. I had a hard day. I forgot. It skipped my mind. I'm not even a train. Like, I have a car. You didn't pay 180 shekels. So what do you do with such a story? I thought to myself, what can I learn from that story? And everybody has their personal struggles, but for me, a big part of my struggle is to stay focused. Be focused. I run a million things. I run around from a million things. I want to make sure there's also this and also that and also teaching and also. You can't really grow if you're not a focused person. And I know that I have to work on it, but I'm procrastinating it. So I felt that Hashem gave me like a small tickle. It's like, if you're not focused, you'll also forget to pay. It ended up costing me another 180 shekels. I don't think it's a punishment. It's like a reminder. No, Mayor. Start being more focused. Work on it. Be more focused. Something happened last night. Someone.
I have a better idea.
You have a better idea why it happened to me?
No, I mean, I always struggle paying, and then when he makes me pay the $50, I'm like, okay, Hashem, maybe pay the monthly bill, you know?
No, but on the train, there's always inspectors, and I hear that. And I'm actually one of the people that I don't believe that. I pay even for one stop. It's like I believe in paying. I believe you're not allowed to ride without paying. But
You eat hard, it's way too much. Stop. I also pay everything.
no, the reason why I'm reading it now is because I want to hear what they think now.
Yeah.
If you Mr. Stop, you pay the way back.
What?
If Mr. Stop, you pay the way back.
You don't have to.
Yeah.
It's free for an hour and a half. But if I have to, I would pay. Yeah. You want to share something?
Me?
Share something small.
Oh.
Otherwise it's like official for break. Oh, you want to share
I
something?
think I had something. So the first thing that came to mind this week, well, that's something that happened this week was, so I go to the gym I go to there's about a good amount of Jews, also a good amount of Arabs, and obviously it's probably not. I mean, for some people it could be a bit tense right now, especially with conflict going on. And
but I'm sure that a lot of Arabs. You should know, by the way, the Israeli Arabs.
they're very great people.
They're pretty good this time around.
Right.
Most of them. Like we had to fire all of our workers because their statuses was full of supporting Hamas. But a lot of Arabs in Israel are saying that Hamas is ISIS. Like
Yeah. So I go
what?
to the,
We're not talking about Chabad.
so I go to the gym.
Chabad could be a Likud member, or Itamar. You could work with Itamar Ben Gvir.
So the type of person I could be very stubborn at times. It could benefit me, and I want to go to the gym even during the time. So what the first thing I want to do is just get back there. I have goals I have for myself right now, and the other day I go, and there's this machine I want to use. There's this guy, young Arab guy using the machine. And I ask him, I kind of like give attention, I have headphones, and I ask like working with him. I don't know if he understands fully my English, but he said, sure, yeah. And then I just started talking to him, big conversation with him. The English wasn't the best, but it was enough. But it's just the cool thing was I introduced myself. I'm pretty sure he knew I was Jewish. I was wearing a baseball cap. I was wearing my shirt that says like Shalom on it, so he obviously knew I was Jewish. So, but I think. Like one thing I learned, when I first started in Baal Tshuva, out of all places, I became Baal Tshuva in a small town in Texas, and
Which town?
College Station, where the Lazarus are. And the thing is, a lot of people there obviously have never met a Jew before, let alone they've never met a religious Jew. And when you walk around, and you present yourself as a Jew. Even during times like this, right now with the conflict going on, last year with Kanye West, that was kind of like a big thing for me. Was I was becoming an observer. I was wearing a kippah. People knew I was Jewish on campus. I mean, this is the largest university in the country, and this is the heat of everything with Kanye West going on. Saying all his anti-Semitic rhetoric. When things are going good or things are going bad, when you're walking around as a Jew and you're representing the Jewish people, there's always an opportunity to do a Kiddush Hashem. There's always an opportunity that you are going around, you present yourself as a Jew, and you can have a positive impact on someone's day, Jewish, non-Jewish, whatever. There's never an excuse not to do that, in my opinion. I'm not saying that's not only me, tons of people doing it. There's tons of people making Kiddush Hashem every day. But it's just that was the cool thing for me. That's just the type of person I am. I like to talk to people. Like even when I started having a relationship, I became the same person. And the same person I was before I was religious, just with a little bit of refinements, So the type of person I go up to anybody and talk to them. Same thing with this guy. I'm Jewish, he's Arab. Me, I was in the gym with him, he's just another guy there. And everything else is hearsay, and nothing really mattered, I could be a Jew and he could be an Arab. We could be friends. 100%. Obviously, we're not best friends, but we had a positive.
You could also be best friends.
We could be best friends, but I have to know him better than just being at the gym. So, but the point is that
I was flying once from Jordan. Yeah. The guy next to me was like someone that was thinking of becoming the first Palestinian president. And we had great conversations.
It's like I heard you say something about. Funny enough, I think you said something regarding shidduchim, and that like some people come with these preferences, and you're like, why would you ever do that to yourself? You're limiting yourself from who you could possibly be with. The same thing. Like we can never limit ourselves in this world. We can interact with anybody we want to interact with. We can have positive interactions we want to interact with. Obviously, and we can make it. The thing is, ultimately, it benefits both the Jewish people and the rest of the world. That we can have positive interactions together. We could be one, even during times like this. One people on earth. But obviously we are.
As long as you don't give up your.
Yeah, you don't give up your Jewish identity. You stay strong. You stay strong and grounded in your values, and then the rest, you do good work.
One people minus Hamas.
What?
One people minus Hamas.
Right, minus Hamas. Yes, they. We can.
The
interactions with them have not been so positive.
They are people. That's
people that act this way are animals.
people can be
Socialization.
animals.
What?
People
They're
can be
raising
animals. They're people.
100%. Yeah, but why? But why should it, why would you be upset with Arabs that comes to the gym?
No.
That would be racism. That would be racism. And not only that, the fact that an Arab feels comfortable to come to a Jewish gym, that just shows that he knows that we're human. No one over here would go to a gym in East Jerusalem these days.
Yeah. It's very, I'm assuming you're talking about the zoos.
Hmm?
I'm assuming you're talking about the zoos? Which gym?
I've always wanted
Star
to work
one.
on my
That's
running.
all.
It's very
I've always
mixed,
wanted
you
to
know.
work on my running.
The zoos is the same
You have
thing.
everything from guys from Arab guys there to a woman who's wearing a long skirt running on the treadmill there.
You didn't
Yeah,
get it?
yeah. Chassidim and
He said he wants to go to East Jerusalem
tank
and train.
tops.
I said,
Right.
I've always wanted to work
Yeah,
on my
kids
running.
7 tank tops.
in
Yeah.
the zoos. I don't know
Get
about
hunted, you
you.
No, you got a couple interesting characters there. I mean, listen, it's,
There's some ripped Chassidim. You should know.
yeah, for sure.
I mean, some secret weapons. They come with the Shrimo.
They give them the army.
For everyone.
No, but in the day, like, listen, it's, I was
Where?
very happy to have the interaction with them.
You're down to the shower.
You gotta clarify for
Taking in time in the city.
All Arabs are coming.
What?
Save the whole city.
Just a reminder that there's still
Only on
people-
behalf of the
Tons.
We're not talking about Rishoyim doing sins. We're talking about people that are trying to annihilate us.
They killed lots of others, though, no?
Shows the world.
What?
They put the honey all over her and had to be killed.
Right. It's a good question. Why would you want to save the life of an evil person in Saddam?
So how does it parallel to our situation? Like what should we take from that?
Very good question. Anyone has an answer?
Isn't there a Gemara about there's a boy drowning, you have to save him,
Yeah,
and they're talking about like the Romans were like persecuting them.
but it was based on like if you didn't save that person, that you would cause a
If it's
bigger
Right,
hate
right.
towards you.
Right. Still.
Specifically, idol
Same
worshippers that
thing-
you're
same
not
thing-
supposed to
same
save.
thing. Yeah, it's the same thing.
Idol worshippers you're not supposed to save.
Or a non-Jew.
Yeah,
Okay, but again,
One.
No,
because they're doing something again.
They said idol worship, but then they added it, you should also say idol
Depending on the
worship.
situation, if it would
Exactly.
make
If it
the
was a
situation
societal,
worse, you could create more hate.
yeah.
If you could do it on the shoot,
You're saying on the shushu, you're talking for the whole world now.
There's 0 viewers. Right?
It's being recorded for the whole. What?
Hold potentially inappropriate.
Was that
message or
inappropriate?
review. No.
No, it's messages as in they message you. Okay. No, you
Oh,
don't.
what? Someone send messages.
Sorry, I
like
said that, and then there's
inappropriate?
like pops up like inappropriate messages.
Yeah, like you're being monitored.
Demonetizing.
Why don't I see the messages? No.
Close. Yeah, now you can see.
Oh, hi from Florida, L'chaim. Hi, Rabbi. It's Ariella Iron. Nice. L'chaim, L'chaim, Shani. It was a pleasure. Yeah, everybody could feel free to come and go. It's fine.
There's one thing.
It's actually a smart thing to leave before the end because at the end everybody cleans. No, it's like a joking. It was a joke.
But now the dirt spoke to you.
See that.
There's one interesting thing I learned this week. It really was on behalf of Rabbi Shem Tov. I thought it was basically a lot of this week's Tanya talks about the comparison between Paraduma and the passing of Tzaddikim. And it's just how, just like Paraduma,
What? A lot of what?
how it draws the comparison between
Yeah, but where
Paraduma.
did you learn it this week?
It's in Chitas.
Yeah.
Tanya.
Tanya.
Oh, the Tanya.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
My pleasure.
And it says, what's the comparison between Paraduma and Tzaddikim?
You looking for the garbage?
And he says,
Specifically between how Paraduma and Tzaddikim give
they
kapara.
both give kapara.
I thought you said Parsha.
No, basically,
The Chitas, right.
the act of paraduma that cleanses is the sprinkling of the water.
Thank
It's
you.
a very simple act
Have a good night.
that gives a very
Good
big
night, boss.
cleansing to the person. A paraduma, the sprinkling of the water.
Good night, Oren. It was really a joke.
What's that?
Huh?
Oh, it's a clean, huh?
But he says, this is Rabbi Shinto said. He said, so what's the simple act? It says in Tanya that the passing of the tzaddik itself gives kapara.
No.
But Rabbi Shinto was was saying what, could be the thing of.
When did Rabbi Shem Tov talk about it?
Yeah, I was just talking to him after davening. He was talking to Nasna. He was reading Chitas, and he just said, why is it bringing this comparison? Why is it bringing the comparison of Paraduma and passing of Tzaddikim?
Right.
What's the point, right?
Yeah,
what's the point? Because even if you say, okay, fine, it's the passing of the Tzaddik gives Kapara and Paraduma gives Kapara, but what's the common thing between them? And so for Paraduma, we see it's the sprinkling of the water. It's a very simple act that grants atonement. All you do is sprinkle water. So with Tzaddikim, he said it's his kashrus. That it could be something as simple as learning chitas every day, doing mitzvahim, you're reading an extra.
That's the idea of Rabbi Shem Tov?
That's something he shared, which I thought was very insightful. What of the tzaddik gives kapara? It's his kashrus.
That's what the Tanya said.
It didn't say. I don't know if it said that.
It said about his conscious.
It
said following in their ways.
Following his ways. Right. Fine.
But that is the comparison to Paraduma?
I don't remember exactly how he connected to Paraduma.
How does someone?
He's saying because it comes from a much higher level.
How does someone after tzaddik passes away connect to tzaddik through his conscious, and then it brings Paraduma. So it could be.
The question is why does the death of a tzaddik bring kapara, and then what do you have to do to receive that, right?
Yeah.
So the discussion is what you have to do to receive that, but then why does it actually happen? Is because of how it comes from a higher level, which I don't remember exactly.
So remember how, like the Rebbe asks, why does the passing of tzaddik comes right after the paraduma, but not just paraduma, it comes after the part of the paraduma that happens like outside of the camp.
Right, outside from the simple. From
and then doesn't talk, if it was just talks about how we clean sins, but if it was just cleaning sins, you should talk about right after when the sacrifices at the temple, because that's what cleans sins.
Right.
And the answer was that because the regular sacrifices, they drew down from Zion Malchus, and therefore it would clean all the sins that were from Klipas Nega, elevate the Klipas Nega to become something holy. But the Gimel Klipas, the three impure Klipas, they can't be elevated by that because according to the world and to time and to nature, there's no way to elevate them. But the whole point of the paraduma is that it connects to Arch Ampin, which is much higher than all of that, and comes to the Chachma Stima Arch Ampin, and then because it's so much higher, it's above all of there's a world of nature and everything, so that when the paraduma, when the sacrifice of paraduma happens, the part that's outside the temple that purifies even the sin of to a mace of touching corpse, which is like the highest form of impurity.
So then how did that connect to the tzaddik? Why did the tzaddik have that same potential?
How it's connected to the passing of a tzaddik.
Yeah.
I mean, you see it, it's funny, everyone always says it's always crazy how after the Rebbe passed away, you have so many more Chabad houses, you have so many more shluchim, you have so many more people who are doing Torah mitzvah, and it's said how all the learning that a tzaddik does in his lifetime and all the mitzvot that a tzaddik does in his lifetime, it's only really fully revealed after he passes away. And I think a lot of that, I'm sure that's it's a big reason why. People are always very astonished how it's so successful after he passed away. But I think that's a direct connection, And through his conscious, when we do mitzvahim, when we learn chitas, when we something Rabbi Kaufman said today in Chassidus, which I thought was very, very amazing. He said the difference between a misnagid and a chassid is at the very end of the day, at the very depth core of a misnag of the misnagdim, their core depth is it's about me. That when we daven to Hashem and we say, I need this, I need this, I need that, at the end of the day it's about me. Even if it's saying I want to do your avodah just perfectly, it's still about me doing my avodah perfectly. And he said, what's the depth of a chassid? He said the depth of a chassid is the Rebbe. That at the end of the day, it's not about just the fact that I need it. At the end of the day, we realize we don't have those needs. We're there to serve. The Rebbe is the person that said constantly all the time, I was created in order to serve my Maker.
What?
I was created in order to serve my Maker. And that's something the Rebbe said all the time. And it's true. When we connect that idea, and when and we have discussions to the Rebbe that way, into that idea, first of all, it's a very empowering idea because it makes us see our lives as not things as we need this, we need that, etc., 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 but we have so much to give. And it's very beautiful.
And be of service.
And be of service. Especially now, it's like, I think a lot of people, including myself, it's like you have so many moments where you think, what really am I doing to help Klal Yisrael? What really am I doing to help? I'm just, fine, okay. Part of it's, we're not on the front lines, we don't have a gun. But, the muktzoim that we can do, or the kind act that we can do, or the way we can help another person, or the part we can learn, and when we can really try to mean it, and we do it in the way that the Rebbe did. The Rebbe had that feel. Like I was watching the Gem video this past week. I don't know if anyone else watched the Gem video.
Which one?
The one about how the land of Israel and the Jewish people are bound together and united, and just to see how the Rebbe talked about like the Jewish people and the land is holy, and when you think about how the Rebbe was the one who started Fontaine, and he totally spoke out against, he was such a defender of Israel. It's like, if we connect to those ideas of the Rebbe, and we connect to the Rebbe in that way, we live for something greater than ourselves. And in that way, like that gives us compar from everything else. And we connect to the Rebbe, and we try to be that person that we were created to serve our master, our maker. I think it's a very schmuck idea. Climb, everybody.
Beautiful. Now, what does he do till now?
Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm not. I'm gonna go there in the morning.
I was wondering. When are you going to go?
Leave at like 6.
What? He does this the whole day.
Depending on clients. Depending on clients.
Rabbi, can help?
Yeah? Maybe he too wants to say something.
Now I really want to hear what you have to say.
I'm interrogating Ian to see if Cambridge is full Muslim or if it's full British.
You're currently interrogating?
No, it's just interesting. This whole world, it's like you always feel like everyone's against you. Like right now, the entire world feels like it's anti-Israel.
It's not the entire world. It's the
There has
people.
to be.
Most governments are our side.
Yeah, but it's just like there's so
Russia said something today that we have no right to defend ourselves.
Really? Putin said that, or?
Yeah, Putin.
What? No. Crazy.
It's pretty clear. It's cool to see like the Abishur's on our side.
What?
The Abishur's on our side.
Yeah.
Let's say something Nasrallah is going to talk tomorrow, no?
Who?
The leader of Hezbollah.
Wow.
He said he has a dramatic speech to give tomorrow. What?
Somebody made a joke video of like an animation of him saying his speech.
The what?
Something Hebrew. I didn't understand most of it.
The what?
Or something Hebrew. I didn't understand most of it, but like Papa.
What was the joke?
Making fun of him.
Oh,
It's giving too much credence.
what?
Too much credence given to it. We're just like waiting to hear what he has to say. Like it's gonna affect what we do. It does. That's the sad part.
That's the sad part, exactly.
We're gonna strike them. We're gonna strike them. We're not. We're not.
No, but America promised that if he gets involved, they're going to fight him. Today he threw 20 rockets in Spas. That's not called getting involved?
Maybe they heard speech that they're not getting involved.
What? Maybe he's going to say in the speech that what?
No,
That
they're
is not
involved.
getting involved.
They're involved. They're involved. They're involved. They've been shooting us this whole time.
Sure.
Like,
No, they do it in a way that they slowly escalate, and then can never say, oh, why did we get in?
No.
Also the Arabs, if they would kill only 10 people. So, for instance, Beirut is already getting rockets for 15 years, right? What happened now? Because this time they already went too much. 1,400 people
That's where
having their cities bombarded for 15 years straight. That's not enough.
That's where you set the line. They could have said at any point, this is any rocket shot now is considered an act of war, and we'll take necessary measures. And then that's it. One rocket, and you now do whatever you want. But they allowed it to keep happening.
Right.
No, but the way the war works, it's a matter of exposure. Like,
What do you mean?
I don't know the proper word. So like, what's happened with Hezbollah?
What's
If
what?
they do this, if they go and kill this many people, so now we have the green light to do this, and if we do this, then they have the green light to do that.
That's when you work proportionately. But the way to get rid of people that try to kill your life,
So-
and you're dafka not proportional.
Right, but so that's the problem. But I'm saying that's with-
Proportion means that you give the power to the person, the perpetrator.
right. But,
It's like he said, it's worth to pay once in a month. 180 shekels.
it's more of the sense of like, let's say, if you go and attack you bomb somebody's capital city, so now they're allowed to bomb your capital city, because I'm saying because we don't want to we're holding off with Hezbollah, so it's a sort of back and forth of neither one wants to push past a certain line. So it's like measure for measure.
in any other situation, if it wasn't for the war in Gaza, Israel would be in a full-on war with Hezbollah. If they were doing this.
What?
They're attacking every day, throwing rockets, and
Yeah.
any other situation, Israel would have just been a full-on war
Yeah.
with Hezbollah. Because the war in Gaza, then it's not a war.
That's what we haven't gone with Hezbollah because and Iran's just waiting for us to waste ourselves down with Hamas and Hezbollah.
Right. They want to be a part of the war when they're already nuclear. Then we'll wake up. But let's all say l'chaim. Klal Yisrael should be victorious. L'mayla Madech Chava.
There's no question.
And that's it. L'chaim, everyone.
Should be a little Malam there.
Should be l'mayla Madech Chateva.
The Rebbe.
L'mayla, I'm sure.
I remember videos of the Rebbe for